This episode is brought to you by the Downtown Denver Partnership. Denver's 16th Street is reopening, and it's back in a big way. On Saturday, October 4th, the Downtown Denver Partnership is hosting an all-day celebration from Market Street to Broadway to mark the completion of Denver's iconic Main Street revitalization. Starting at 11 a.m., 16th Street will come alive with a mile-long celebration featuring a brass band parade led by Guerrilla Fanfare, an REI scavenger hunt, and a local heroes music lineup. Learn more and RSVP at downtowndenver.com/grand opening. This episode is brought to you by Wise. Wise is the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies with only a few simple taps, and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. Whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or sending euros to tip your Colosseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Be smart. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. Learn more by visiting wise.com/US/compare. T's and C's apply. Today on CityCast Denver, is Havana the new federal for adventurous foodies? One Westward food writer has been eating his way down this Aurora Main Street, and he joins me to share his favorite spots to find everything from ramen to kebabs hidden in some surprising strip malls. And stay tuned to hear a sponsored segment with Window Nation sales manager Ryan Quinnell. Today is Wednesday, September 24th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, before we get started, it's that time of year again. We're launching our fall membership campaign. Yes, this daily podcast is totally free to listen to, but we need your support to make that happen. You can support this show for just $10 a month or $100 a year by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. At CityCast Denver, we believe better neighbors make better cities, and it's our mission to equip you to be a better neighbor every day by highlighting local businesses and keeping you informed on local issues. To me, being a good neighbor means being a regular at my favorite family-owned Denver restaurants. I'm looking at you, Jay's Noodles, Looking Good Lounge in Torres. And being a good neighbor also means staying up to date on the big changes happening in my city council district, like the rec center being built in Westwood right now that I can't wait to see open to the community. And becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor is just one more way you can be a good neighbor by supporting me, Paul, Olivia, Peyton, and the rest of the gang that make this show and our lovely newsletter happen every day. If this sounds like something you'd like to support, head over to membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. Okay, on with the show. Anthony Bruno, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to share a little meme with you in the chat if you want to take a look at it really quick.
A meme? Oh my gosh.
I want to start
What's
with a meme.
Okay. What people from Denver think they look like when they discover federal. Okay, got it. Very cool.
So I'll describe it for listeners. It's from our friends Colfax Things. She posted this meme a long time ago, and it's this image of Anthony Bourdain sitting in some food stall in Southeast Asia. And the caption says, "What people from Denver think they look like when they discover Federal Boulevard for the first time." How does that hit you?
That's funny. That's funny. I actually like it. How does it hit me? Well, so I've not been along Federal as much as I have Havana, but yes, I think that there's this. You see these things written about, go here and you'll see all these different restaurants, or you go here and you'll have all these different stalls and stuff. And then when you actually get there, you're realizing it's a restaurant behind a tire shop. It's a little bit different than what you're looking at there. But hopefully the food's as good. I mean, I don't know what he's eating in that photo, but you definitely have that sense of adventure, I hope.
Did you have that sense when you started this trip? The thing is, I think we're kind of looking at Federal Boulevard has been treated kind of similarly to the way Havana is being treated now, is that it's a destination for some folks to go eat different cuisines. Maybe they don't live in the neighborhood. And so Havana seems to be sort of evolving into this similar space. What was your thought when you were approaching this trip up Havana?
Yeah, no, good question. So like the way it all came about was that the Westward food editor, Molly Martin, she came to me and asked if I would be interested in doing this. I had done a couple of pieces for Westward on some, restaurants, just one-offs here and there. And then she floated it as a series. They've been thinking about doing this apparently for some time. I wasn't I wasn't really around and didn't see as much as the coverage of Mark Antonia's pieces on Federal as much. So I took a look at it when they brought it up to me, and I liked the idea on a couple levels. One is that I had heard. I mean, I knew that Aurora in general had a lot of diverse types of restaurants and the types of restaurants that I personally wanted to explore more myself. Korean restaurants, North African, things like that. Things you don't see as much of in maybe some of the more traditional restaurant corridors in the Denver area, I guess. And so it was always in the back of my mind of wanting to check out. So then when I had an opportunity to be essentially assigned to have to go there, it was like, yes, sure, I will do that. Like I was totally down for it.
Would you describe that a little bit for folks who maybe don't know Havana well or can't
Sure.
picture what you're saying?
So Havana Street's it's a busy boulevard. Okay, it's 2-3 lanes either side, separated, boulevard style, and it's very busy. I can tell you that I've gotten up and down that street, as you can imagine, quite a bit. There's often very large car accidents that take place that block up traffic, or there's construction and things like that. And so it's not the most walkable street in the world. You're definitely going to drive to an area and stop in a parking lot. Some of those parking lots can also have their own challenges in terms of, repair and things like that. So, you're going to go to like, basically it's like a series of like retail centers or strip malls or, things like that, where you're going to go into a parking lot, and there's going to be 6 to 7 businesses all kind of surrounding that area. And then so you're going to kind of walk through those. And then when you've done that, you're going to drive to another parking lot, and then you're going to kind of check out those sort of restaurants. So that's more the style that it's like. It's not it's again, it's not exactly pedestrian friendly. That's okay. It's not a complaint. It's just, it's not what some people might think of as like a main street.
Sure. So let's talk about some specific places.
Sure.
I want to hear about somewhere that surprised you, somewhere you might not have thought about if you weren't taking this comprehensive approach of trying to eat at every place on Havana.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, it's like some places that surprise. They've all been surprising in their own way, and I know that's sort of a wishy-washy answer. I will give you some specific examples, but I think the point of it is that wherever you go, you think you might know what you're going to get yourself into, and then it's usually something else. And that's the best part about the whole thing. So as an example, I guess, there was a place that I actually wrote about this, so that's why I'll bring this one up. But there was a place I went to called Taqueria Corona, and it was basically a empty restaurant. You can't really, a lot of these places you can't see through the windows. Like the windows are sort of covered with some kind of branding or photos or posters and such. So you don't know what's inside. It's just a door. You open it up and then you're like, okay, there's nobody here. I go at odd hours, so that's something I don't worry about too much. But there's no one in there. There's not a lot, decoration. It doesn't look like, a fancy or even, fast casual type restaurant. And you don't know if the food's going to be any good or not. So you just sort of order, and like I have to do it no matter what, so it's fine. And it's I was like, I wasn't expecting much. I was like, okay, let's see how these tacos are. They're tacos. It can't be too bad. And what I ended up having was some of the best tacos I've ever had in my life. And I was like absolutely blown away. Like I have not yet been back, just because I still have another dozen some restaurants to cover on this. But I would definitely go back there and just order like a dozen. They're like $2.50 a taco, and they're just fantastic.
And this was Taqueria Corona? Is that what you said?
Exactly.
And could you describe the taco? Like, what was so special? What was this taco that you had there?
It was just full of flavor. I mean, like you sat down, you ordered, and then you could hear them making it in the back. Like you hear the clanging of the the metal spatulas against the flat top and whatnot. And they come out, and they're seem relatively freshly made. They're just they weren't dry.
Yeah, are we talking al pastor? What are we talking?
Yeah, well,
here?
I mean, I had a sampler.
You had a spread.
I had a number of them, right? There was a pastor, there was a lengua, which is tongue. You're testing my memory here on what some of the other ones are. But those were the two that stood out, particularly the pastor. But yeah, they were all just, they had to do it properly. We're talking about very thin strips of meat. So you want to get a real crisp on the outside, but you want the inside to still be very tender and not dry. And that's really difficult to achieve sometimes, right? That's why they could be very easily dried out. And these were not. And so it was just, and the sauces that came with it were all fantastic. It was very simple, no frills. You get onions and cilantro and a hot sauce, and off you go. And I mean, I had to go. I could have easily just ordered another round of 6 tacos. Like I was so happy. And I was so happy because I was so surprised. Like I wasn't expecting it. So that's the best kind of surprise you can get.
That's what I love that you described here too, is like, we talked about this a lot, is some of Denver's and some of the metro areas. And I think this is true of a lot of cities with the urban suburban sprawl situation, is a lot of the best food is found in strip malls. But like you're saying, it's like, you might not even know from the strip mall what you're getting into. And sometimes it's a delightful surprise. Is there any trend or specific dish that you've encountered a lot on Fed? Is there something on Havana that really...
Good question. Yeah.
Seems prominent.
So it depends on where along the strip you are, right? So I've been working my way up from south to north, right? So I started at like Dartmouth, I'm going to say, and it goes all the way up Savannah, and I'll be ending at around First, I believe. And so I'm not there yet. But I'll say what I will loosely term the southern part of Havana is very heavily saturated with Korean restaurants, right? There's other things. I mean, like I said, Corona's there. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant, some Chinese, things like that. But I would say the vast majority of that area is Korean restaurants. And what was interesting was that I thought, like, how are all these places competing with each other? It's like it's a lot of the same style of cuisine, but then when you really get into it and you pay a little more attention and you go to these places, you start realizing they all have a slightly different take on it. Like Korean cuisine is very vast. There's lots of different applications of that, and so what you're able to do is go to a place that specializes in different things. Some might be the Korean barbecue, where, you get the tabletop grill and you're doing that thing and the banchan and all. Another place focuses on soups. There's one place that focuses on not only, but their main thing is like pig trotter, right? And so you've got the ability to really super serve a certain area of that cuisine, and there's no real competition necessarily that they like. I asked them, like, how are you able to compete? And they all say, oh, everyone does something a little different. It's fine. It's people know where to go. And so that I would say would be one of the trends, quote unquote, of the southern area. I'm looking very much forward to now, as I'm hitting the northern part. There's like 3 or 4 North African restaurants and Ethiopian restaurants that are up there that I haven't been to yet, that I'm very much looking forward to checking out.
So with the Korean trend, like you said, it encompasses a lot of different types of foods just under this umbrella of Korean food. Was there a place that you love that you were like, I gotta go back here?
Yeah, I gotta go back to all of them. I mean, I'm going to be sort of little quoteless on this one here. Like, there's like picking. I don't want to say picking your children because I don't own any of them, but they all have something a little bit different that's interesting. So it really depends on the mood and what you're after for that particular time, right? I will say,
was there a Korean barbecue that was good? I guess that's like the most. I'd say that's the most.
There wasn't one that was bad.
One.
That was the thing. That's the thing. Like, they're just a little bit different. And that's the hard part. Like when I get done with this, I'm going to have to try to do a better job of sussing out precisely what these 3 Korean barbecues might have in common, yet also just a little bit different. That's still a little bit hard to kind of think through. But I think that there's some that are a little bit more entry level. Like, I just did one on Daeji, and that's like, it's more approachable maybe for someone who's not familiar with Korean cuisine or Korean barbecue. And there's others that have like, hard to pronounce names, like, Shinming Guan. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that properly. And it's a little more like, okay, what does that even mean? And what am I getting here? But they all have their own approach and take to it, and their own spice levels and their own different take, like on the banchan, which, if you don't know, are the vegetable side dishes that come with Korean barbecue. All of those are just a little bit different. So the point is in exploring them all.
This episode is brought to you by the Clifford Still Museum. Engage with new perspectives in the groundbreaking new show, Tell Clifford I Said Hi, an exhibition curated by children of the Colville Confederated Tribes, now on view at the Clifford Still Museum. Discover how children interpret the artist's early works and abstract art in an exhibition that extends a dynamic exchange that began nearly a century ago. Explore your creativity in the exhibition's interactive weaving wall and be inspired in the museum's hands-on art studio. During your visit, experience a world-class collection gifted to the city, award-winning architecture, and events for all ages. Enjoy the best way to spend an hour in Denver. The Still is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Children 17 and under are always free. Buy tickets and learn more at cliffordstillmuseum.org. That's cliffordstillmuseum.org. And if you walk into the beginning of front of the museum, my voice is in the welcome video, so you might recognize me and my beautiful family. This episode is brought to you by Window Nation. It's September and the temperature has dropped. No better time than now to replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. Get the windows you want to protect and beautify your home and choose from over 1,500 styles and colors. Plus, installation crews finish the job in 1 day or less, so you can enjoy your cozy home with minimal disruption. And guess what? This month, you can buy 2 windows and get 2 free. And you can put 0 down, make 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 years. That's right, you could pay nothing until 2027. You know what? Maybe I'll convince Greg to put a window in the studio. Because currently it doesn't have one, and that's like the only thing about it is like you don't know if it's daylight. Let's get some gorgeous windows in there. Colorado sunshine, baby. And don't wait. They've got a flash sale happening through September 30th. If you buy 2 windows, you can get 2 free, plus an extra 10% off, plus no interest for 2 years. Schedule a fast free estimate now with Window Nation at windownation.com. That's windownation.com. Hey, it's Bree, host of CityCast Denver, and I'm here with who?
Producer Olivia Jewel Love. Hey, we are here because it is our membership drive. So, we need your help. Y'all know we are a small team, and every day we put on a new pod for you guys, put on a new newsletter for you guys, and that's a lot of work. Like, low-key, we make it look easy, y'all know, but honestly, like, we need your support.
And in exchange, there are perks. I think this is the newest thing. This is pretty cool, is you get invites to member-only events, and our last one was a banger. So if you want that information, sign up to be a member today. You also get a curated weekly list of events, of the best things to do in the city. Peyton puts that together every single week. And we give you a little space to share what you love about Denver in our podcast. So you could become a CityCast Denver neighbor today for just $10 a month or $100 a year. You can go to membership.citycast.fm. Sign up, super easy. And if you sign up now through October 3rd, what do you get, Olivia?
Tote bags!
Hi, me again. Here to remind you that if you sign up to become a CityCast Denver neighbor today, you also get cool stuff. I mean, beyond supporting local journalism, you also get invites to members-only events where we explore cool parts of the city, like our last shindig at Schoolyard Beer Garden. It rained like crazy, and guess what? Our members still came out to hang out with us inside the historic Evans School. It was so cool and so much fun. When you become a CityCast Denver neighbor, you also get a weekly email with handpicked events from around the city to help you get out into the community, and you get the opportunity to shout out a local business or organization doing good work in Denver. And you get an ad-free podcast feed. That's like 3 minutes of your life back. Plus, during our fall campaign, if you join right now, you get our extra special Neighbors Make Denver tote bag. And it's a reminder that when neighbors show up, our city thrives. Please just take a moment to support the show and let us shower you with all of these awesome perks. Join right now for just $10 a month or $100 a year at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. I'm a ramen fanatic. Did you encounter any ramen?
I went to it's Katsu Ramen, and
okay.
I'll tell you what, right now that's worth a trip to, 100%. Without, I mean, I'm a ramen fanatic too. I first had ramen in Japan. So I'm a big fan of it, and that's a place I would go back to over and over again, without a doubt. That place is fantastic.
I also loved you profiled this place. I think it was called El Cafe or the El Food Court.
Yeah. This is the Armenian restaurant.
The Armenian restaurant, and the owner, you described it as Turkish and Russian cuisine, but the owner, Lucy, said they say it's Turkish, but it's totally Armenian. Yeah. Many people still live over there. They change their last names, but they cook their own food, and that's why it all stays the same food. And I thought that was so interesting that you're encountering not just cultural cuisine, but folks' personal take on it.
So that's the thing. Like when you mentioned the federal series beforehand, I had read Mark's wrap-up piece when he finished that. And I've spoken with Mark about this a couple of times as well. And then he had mentioned that when he was done with it, he focused a lot on the food and whatnot. And if he had to do it again, he would have tried to get more input from the people in the restaurants as well. And so I read that and I started with that and ran with that. Now, it's really hard to do, to actually get a hold of people sometimes. But that's actually, to me, the more interesting story. It's like, yes, okay, here's this food. I might like it, I might not. And if you've noticed, these aren't reviews. These are more profiles. I'm explaining to people what they can expect when they go there, and they can draw their own conclusions if they do. But yeah, talking to people and hearing their stories and hearing why they're doing this and what they're trying to achieve, to me, is the best part of doing this series. Everyone focuses on the food. Oh, you get to eat all this food. But really talking to people and getting to hear their backstory and how they come to do this, that, for me personally as a writer, is far more interesting. And that's a perfect example.
Yeah, so maybe what is that story? Because I love that you bring up, so we've talked quite a bit here about Mark Antoniation's eating up Federal, which was the inspiration for this Havana. And he wanted to talk more to the restaurateurs. You've mentioned so many different kinds of cuisines just in this short conversation. What is that bigger story about Havana? What would you like take away from it if someone said, I'm going to Havana for the first time?
Yeah. So
what is the story there?
To me, the story is having the courage to try something different and unfamiliar. That's how I take it. Now, there are some places that you're going to go to in Havana. They're built and designed for people that are familiar with that cuisine. It's like a taste of home, right? And so people go there because they are familiar with what it is, and it's nostalgia, or it's some kind of connection to the cuisine they grew up with. But for a lot of us, it's brand spanking new. And so we live in this time where I think people are so concerned and worried about being disappointed. You have all this digital platforms that can inform you. You've got Google reviews, you've got videos on social, you have all these things that kind of sort of point you to what I feel are sort of some of the same areas. It starts to flatten the culture around food and restaurants in the city by funneling everyone to some of the same places. And so I think if there's a lesson to be drawn from doing this, it's that ignore all of that. Just if you pass by a place that you've seen and you're curious about, ignore the reviews. Don't look for it on social. Just open the door and have the courage to order something and see what happens. If anything, I would say seek disappointment. Look for opportunities to be disappointed by the food you're eating, because more often than not, you will be pleasantly surprised rather than the other way around.
I like that approach. I like that. I think sometimes that we do stick to the same. We try that one place. I think about this a lot. I try that one place on Federal, and then that's just where my family goes for that type of cuisine. But maybe there's 5 different restaurants that do that specific cuisine in their own way. And we just never branch out. And it sounds like there's so many options.
We eat 3 times a day, most of us. And it's not like you're like when you go on vacation and you really want to narrow down the restaurants you're going to go to. I get it. You got 7 days in that country. You got each meal kind of matters. This is your backyard. You have places you didn't like. That's fine. There's always tomorrow. You're not going anywhere. Just try someplace. Make a point of trying someplace new on a regular basis. These places are not that expensive. You are going to learn something. Even if you don't like it, you will come away with knowledge. And that's, I think, a benefit. And so it all just sort of informs your palate and informs your sense of adventure. And I think that, like I said, that's the thing that I took away from it the most. And I'll point back to that example I gave at Taqueria Corona as an example. If it was just me, if I wasn't there as on assignment, I might have walked in that place, see it empty, turn around and walked out. And I would not have had that experience. So that's why that really clued that whole thing in for me, and why I like to share that story, because I think that's the approach that people need to take, not just to Havana, but really kind of anywhere.
Well, and I like this because I do want to talk a little bit more about the people. You've really talked a lot about the people behind these businesses. And I'm curious how this strip of Havana fits into the lives of the people who live there, because like you've described, it's like big box stores, strip malls, it's a lot of parking lots, car dealerships. What have you learned about maybe Aurora in doing this work?
Well, let's see. I learned that it's a lot of the maybe outside of Colorado perceptions of Aurora are probably a little inaccurate, or at least limited in terms of scope. One of the things that I really enjoyed were the night markets they have on Aurora. It's I think it's the last Saturday.
There's one coming up this weekend.
I'm going to screw this up. Yeah, I think it's the last Saturday of the month is these night markets in the Lisacaya parking lot. And you go there and it's like, you just see all these, these are people that are coming from around the area, and it's very family friendly. It's very relaxed. There's no concerns about, any gang violence or any of the stuff that's been in the national news. You don't see a lot of that. I know that there are, like, I've been to I didn't write a story about this, but I went to sort of a meeting with the Aurora Police Department, that the local businesses were there kind of just sharing information. So they occasionally have their concerns about some vandalism incidents and things like that. But for the most part, it's not a dangerous place. It's not a place to avoid or have to be worried about, in my experience. And I think that's interesting. Whenever you have a place that has such a diverse population, I'm sure there's, benefits and challenges to that anywhere. And I think that's all the more reason to check it out. Again, for me, it's about avoiding sort of this flattening of culture and going to a place that is the opposite of that. It's more like an explosion of culture. And that's why I like exploring the street, because there's just so much going on. I mean, and that's just the food. I mean, there's all the different shops and the other things we haven't even gotten into. So that's not part of the series. So I haven't written about it. But there's a lot of stuff happening there that's worth checking out. So yeah, I think that Aurora itself is, I don't live in Aurora, so I can't speak to it as a resident, but having driven around it and whatnot and seeing what's taking place there, it's definitely an area where there's an opportunity for more of this to be seen in a relatively condensed space.
Well, and we'll put a link in the show notes to the Havana Street night markets that you mentioned, because
Cool.
there is one happening this coming weekend. Anthony, before we go, one more recommendation. Maybe it's a dessert place or a coffee place or anything that really stuck you. We'd love to give folks a specific spot to check out on Havana.
Oh, geez. I know you're doing this to me again, right? You're making me come up with something. So, well, I think I've already given a call out to the taco place. I've given a call out to the ramen place. I think another place that I think is really great that's worth taking a look at is Tofu Story. They make their own tofu in-house, which is a rarity. You don't see that, I don't think, anywhere else. And so that's definitely, and what they're serving there is really fantastic food. Let's see. I really like Yemen Grill, a great Middle Eastern restaurant. A lot of, the kebabs and the grilled meats there. You can't go wrong. Dessert places, there's Snow, which is actually the one that's going to be coming out tomorrow's story will be on Snow. It's like a snow cone milk bowl kind of place, but also has like what's called taiyaki, which is like this waffle cone shaped like a fish.
Yes.
So they have that's a big menu there. But then there's also Milk Roll down the street a ways, which is more of a like a rolled ice cream type of thing. It looks really cool. It's very Instagrammable. So there's that. I'm going to keep on yakking here, but like there's this they all have their own interesting thing. Oh, and Coco Loco is actually kind of a fun one. It's kind of tucked away, but it's like a smoothie place, but you could also buy ice cream there, and the ice cream that's sold is by a different business sells their ice cream within the Coco Local space, and that's a craft Denver almost homemade ice cream. Really, really interesting stuff. Flavors change all the time. That's definitely worth checking out too. So that's probably a longer answer than you wanted, but
no, that's
I can't
great.
just pick one. It's impossible. They're just such a fun place to explore.
No, this is great. I think it'll give listeners who are maybe approaching this for the first time a starting point. So
Yes.
This has been really fun. Anthony, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me. And, get yourself to Havana and have some food.
And thank you again to our new members and our existing members. You, the OGs who have been supporting CityCast Denver from the jump. You can join them right now by signing up to become a CityCast Denver neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And don't forget, when you sign up today, you get a limited edition tote bag just for you, our neighbors. But don't take it from me. Listen to Stuart G., who recently joined our membership program. Stuart says, I listen every day. I get almost all of my news and information about Denver from CityCast Denver. I want CityCast to continue and thrive and be financially stable. It's about time I support what's important to me. Be like Stuart. Join today. That's membership.citycast.fm. And now, please enjoy my interview with the sales manager over at Window Nation, Ryan Quinnell. Hey, Bree Davies here with Ryan Quinnell, sales manager of Window Nation. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, how are you?
Great. We're going to talk about everything to do with windows, which is something that Denverites definitely think about, especially when we're thinking about our weather. So Denver weather throws us everything from blazing sun to heavy snow. I wonder, how are they designed to deal with any kind of climate like that?
Yeah, Denver's climate it's definitely unique. And it requires us to have products that meet conditions of the market, obviously. And so we're the third largest window installer in the country, the largest non-franchise, and a partridge in a pear tree. But Really, realistically, we operate in 52 different markets and have 52 window models, but we only have 5 that we sell or utilize in Denver just because of the unique market demands. We utilize a product called titanium dioxide. It's infamous for being in a sunscreen, like on my bald head. So it protects the frames against the harsh, like UV conditions we get. We test our windows up to 150-mile-per-hour winds. We utilize a lot of cutting edge technology with a focus on energy efficiency.
Do the windows need any sort of special protection when I'm thinking about something like we get these late spring hailstorms here in Denver?
Yeah, I just smashed my car. He's a victim, so guilty. I got a name for the car. It's a he. That's what we run with. But no, with the utilization, we do offer a free lifetime warranty on everything. And that doesn't mean limited, it's literally full. And based around the install methodologies that we use, the trim coils, like I said, everything's tested up to 150-mile-an-hour winds, kind of your level 3 hurricane type of things we can make it through. If we're past that point, we probably have bigger concerns. But no, we want to make sure that you feel protected, feel secured, and have a product that's going to stand the test of time, supported with our warranty as well.
Let's talk about aesthetics. So, like, I have a 1938 bungalow, and I know folks like me, style matters to homeowners here, whether it is an old home or a new build. I wonder, what kind of options do you offer for Denver residents who can match both our budget and the way it looks?
Sometimes I get asked that. I feel like Oprah, like, you got a car, you got a car, you get a window, you get a window. And the reality is that every home and every homeowner is unique. We all have different wants or needs or demands of what we're looking for. So all of our windows are custom made. So kind of the cheesy way of saying it is your windows don't have to fit our home, or your home doesn't have to fit our windows, if I could say that right. Our windows are made to fit your home. So we got a ton of styles. We got a myriad of color options we can offer. You have everything from, like you said, like your historic homes to your newer builds, right? Stucco and brick and siding and things. So really, we have everything from a single hung, a double hung, to a slider, to a bay, to a bow, to as crazy as a pentagon or hexagon shape is. We got doors, sliding glass doors. We got windows. See, now I'm back to the Oprah thing. So, but we got a lot of options, as I'll say, a myriad of options.
So let's talk about Window Nation as a business. You all partner with the Wounded Warrior Project. Why is it important for your company to connect with this particular cause?
Window Nation, we really attribute some of our growth to just, we want to be part of the communities that we serve more than just trying to improve homes, right? And partnering with the Wounded Warrior Project, it's really deeply meaningful to us because it allows us to give back to the men and women who have, sacrificed so much for our country. Many of our customers, frankly, a lion's share of our employees, and their families have direct ties to the military. So being able to support veterans as they transition back into civilian life, it just really aligns with our values.
So Window Nation is vetted here in Denver by Dave Logan, who many of our listeners may recognize. Can you explain who that is for folks who may not know him and why you wanted to work with him?
He's not just like a former Bronco, as a lot of people think of him, or just a broadcaster they think of him, the man of all trades, right? So world famous locally, and but he's really known across the city for carefully vetting and then endorsing the local home improvement companies. When Dave puts his name behind a business, people know it's been thoroughly evaluated and for quality and integrity. The credibility of that, it carries a lot of weight in Denver, is our opinion. And for us here, being vetted by Dave Logan means homeowners can hopefully feel confident that choosing us, knowing we've met the high standards he's built a reputation on, we'll invoke some of that trust and confidence in us to work on, frankly, what for most people is their most important asset or, biggest investment of their home. And that means a lot.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being here. This was wonderful. Everybody, you can check out windownation.com to schedule a consultation now. We will have a link to that in the show notes as well. Thank you all for listening. And Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Just can't hide it. I appreciate your time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell the owners of Taqueria Corona about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later. Taqueria Corona in the Havana Plaza.